where the dictatorship is functioning from behind the curtain, because this system, this financial system, is not transparent for most of the people. From behind the curtain, there is an immense control over big parts of world society. And I think that this doesn't fit to the democratic goals, and also it doesn't fit to scientific goals. It has to become more and more transparent, more and more from behind the curtain, in front of the curtain, on the stage of public discussion. So what can be changed? Let's add at first here the second source. Are the commercial banks, what I just mentioned. What are the consequences, or should be the consequences, of these insights if they are correct? And if they are correct, can only be discussed in discussion, but not in closing the eyes. Silvio Gesell said, here's the problem. Here it should be solved. If this would be a system of central heating, where the rooms are warmed up in winter, and if in winter the room would become more and more cold, then one would look, where is the reason? There is the water, hot water running out, flowing out of the system. There is a hole, a leak, how is it called? A hole, yeah? There is a damage at the system. We have to repair it at that point where the problem is. Yeah, but usually in this context, one doesn't look here. Instead, for example, Keynes, he had recognized that there may be some exflow of money with this liquidity preference. But the solution, he didn't seek the solution at that point. Instead, he said, there must be more demand to compensate what's flowing up here. And the demand can only come into the circulation by the state. And the state has to give the stimulus, which I already told about. And I already indicated and mentioned that this, on the long run, will produce side effects of very big problems. Inflation and more interest burden for the state, where the state and its services breaks down more and more, with social crisis, with political crisis, and so on. So this is not really the solution what Keynes offered. Gesell, 20 years before Keynes, in his work The Natural Economic Order, Natürliche Wirtschaftsordnung, which was published first time 1916. He said the problem has to be solved at that point where it is, at the roots of the problem. And he proposed to introduce some element in the monetary system at this point here, where money is flowing out of this circulation in real economy. This should be charged. There should be installed some kind of charge for money which is drawn out of real circulation. In German, it is called Umlaufsicherungsgebühr, a charge to guarantee the circulation of money. And this should be a specific percentage, high enough to make it unattractive to draw the money out of the real economy. Instead, the money, to avoid this to avoid this charge, the money would flow more and more into the real economy, and only by this the supply of money will grow, and taking a given demand for money and credit, then the interest rate will go down, and a diminishing of interest rate will then also diminish all these 5 crisis tendencies which I spoke of, and where I only showed one tendency. The others I couldn't really develop, only indicate. So if these crisis tendencies would be diminished, it could start some kind of healing process of some kind of social organism. And I compare it meanwhile with a similar methodological way in alternative medicine, in acupuncture. There's a flow of quite different means or medium. It is a flow of life energy through the body. And this also may be blocked in its circulation, and then it disturbs the organism, and the organism becomes ill in one or another aspect. And if the exact points are found out where this disturbed energy flow could be regulated and come back to its original natural flow, then the rest is done by this flowing energy by itself. Some kind of self-healing quality is induced, or is, with the acupuncture needle at the exact point. And amazing results sometimes happen. So I compare it with the social organism of an economy. The disturbance of the continuous flow of money in the real economy, the split of money between real economy and speculative financial markets, there is a fundamental disturbance in the root of the system. When this is recognized, then one can find out those points where it has to be intervened with some change. This would be really an important change. And to induce, again, a continuous flow of money in the real economy, in its function as a means of exchange and buying, which is an important aspect of money. But to reduce more and more the split off. I bring another graph. Here's money. If it flows in the real economy, this is a positive aspect. If it is split off, like here, and then more and more away from real economic basis, then it turns into negative, into the opposition. The money in our monetary system has fundamentally a split between money as a means of exchange and money as a means of speculation. And as long as this split is existing, it produces again and again big crises. So what to do? This split off has to be changed, has to be overcome. And then there is money which functions in this context, and this should be more and more reduced. So this is one means